Welcome. It's Monday's inspirational video, and I'm so glad that you've joined. Today, we're going to talk about forgiveness and the power of self-forgiveness. So let's get started. Many times in life, we make mistakes. And early on in my journey, I didn't realize that it was natural and normal to make mistakes. I thought that mistakes needed to be punished, if you will, that we were bad if we made them. And I didn't realize that they were a natural occurring part of life. And so you can imagine how much guilt and shame I carried around within me that manifested outside of me as well, because I thought that I didn't deserve to be loved because of the mistakes that I'd made. I spent my whole life doing everything that I was supposed to do, getting the straight A's, getting a full ride to college, doing all the things that I was taught that is what brings success in this life. Got my degree in electrical engineering, went into the engineering field. I did all the things that I was supposed to do, and it gave me a good life. It did. But I also felt empty. And I also felt this void, and I also felt like all I did was never enough, and I also felt really guilty and shameful a lot, and I also had all these other feelings that didn't feel in alignment to who I truly was. It was like I was living, not necessarily a lie, but it was like I was living a life that wasn't necessarily mine. I believe it was all divine. I believe I had to experience it all in order to know what it is now to live in alignment with my soul. Because if I didn't know what it was to not live in alignment, how could I know what it is to live in alignment? So I believe that all things are necessary that we experience in our lives, and we get to choose how we respond to each situation. So in my life, I got to the point where I realized that I had this massive fear of failure, that I felt that if I failed, that I would disappoint life itself, that I would disappoint my family, God, myself, everyone. And so I did all that I could to not fail. And what this took of me is everything. It took of me everything. I worked as hard as I could to ensure that I didn't fail in life. And what that took was control. I had to insert and force a lot of control to try to control the outcome of everything. I was so wound up. I was so stressed out. I had so much tension in my neck and shoulders and in my back and jaw that because I couldn't let go. I couldn't let go and just live, because I had too much fear within. So then I learned through experiences in my life in which I failed, hard fail, that I would still be loved and that I would still survive. And as I looked back, what I realized is that my biggest fear in failing is that I wouldn't be loved. And so I worked so hard to not fail. But yet that kept me from the life that I truly wanted. And so this failure that I experienced in the closing of a business in 2020 was extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. But what I realized is that no matter what, I am loved. And what I've discovered is that in my most difficult moments, I've had some challenging moments in life, and in those difficult moments, they bring me back to the divine. They bring me back to divinity. I was blessed enough and fortunate enough to somehow intuitively know that in each moment in which I need help, that I could ask for it. And not necessarily just here on the physical plane, but also on the spiritual plane. And so my dog also wants a spotlight, if you can hear my dog barking. And so allowing myself to fail, allowing and feeling that fear. And if I'm saying this and you feel that fear that, oh my gosh, I can't fail. I don't even want to know what that feels like. You don't have to experience failure in order to know that you are loved. We just have to shift our mindset. We have to heal and let go of what's keeping us in this place on the trajectory of needing to lose it all in order to remember who we are. We could do this in a way that is aligned and guided. And that's what I hope for you. I hope that letting go of all that you've been taught to be is done so in a way that you feel supported and loved and guided in every step. So, once that happened, my big failure, the only person that was holding me accountable in not forgiving myself was me. And it was really, really difficult to forgive myself, really difficult. Yet once I realized that I am loved no matter what, and that there's nothing that we could ever do in which we won't be loved, I was able to be willing to forgive myself and to let this divine love in, because what I was doing was resisting life. I was resisting love because I didn't believe that I deserved it. So as we come back within, whatever it is that needs to be forgiven, maybe it's not some big thing, but it's just a tiny thing. Maybe it's something that we said to others, or something that we've said to ourselves, or how we're treating ourselves, or a situation that happened in life, or the words that we speak within, the criticism, the negative self-talk. Whatever it may be, however you're showing up for yourself that isn't healthy, maybe that negative self-talk is the punishment that we seek from the guilt because of something that we believe that we did that isn't right. And then we have to go back and we have to remember where we learned right and wrong. We have to go back and we have to remember what thoughts were instilled in us so that we can let them go, because the majority of what we believe is not even ours. And then once we let it go, we could be ourselves. And so that's all we're doing, is just uncovering and letting go, and forgiveness is the greatest part in letting go. Forgiveness opens the door to allow the life that we want, to allow ourselves the grace to experience and to receive love. So that's what I will leave you with today, this divinity, this love, this God, whatever you want to call it, that exists within you and around you, loves you no matter what. We just need to be open and willing to forgive ourselves. Open and willing to allow love in. This beautiful love. Have a wonderful day.